Afternoon, guys. Hope you're all well out there. Wow, the weather's incredible, isn't it, for for cutting wood? Almost too hot for cutting and prepping wood. I've been on the wood stack today, and it's strange. You can every few seconds with the sun on the wood pile, you keep hearing the wood cracking and splitting under the incredible heat. So, I have had a few questions about one of my Oleo Macs. I'm a bit belated doing a video for her. This is one of my 951s, and really interesting, in fact, the 951. I would have said a hugely underrated saw, and for, I think, some really interesting reasons as well, because there are some fundamental changes which I don't think ever so subtle as well, but I don't think people have realised about some of the later saws. So, as she sounds, 951, so roughly 50 cc's displacement, and 1990, can run up to an 18-inch bar. So this girl is running now she's running a genuine Oleo Mac 18-inch bar, which I bought from a donor saw recently. Picked up another saw and running a part of the Recoil, because this saw's beautiful, simply beautiful, but just wanted a couple of other bits just to make her really, really special. And so they run a 45mm piston with a 31mm stroke, so relatively short stroke. And if you went back and you looked at, and I really love the 251s, something like 15, 20 years earlier, they were 32mm stroke and a 44mm piston, so a nominal 49cc. So 1mm down on the piston diameter and 1mm up on the stroke. And so it's interesting, you get slightly different running characteristics, but of course those saws were predominantly mag alloy construction, whereas by the 90s now, lots of the Oleos, these are predominantly all composite, all plastic construction all the way around, with AV mounts, and depending how you feel about that, progress in in breath, and then the next breath, I think they've gone backwards in lots of ways. So the early ones, the 49cc's, again, only run up to an 18-inch bar, but interestingly run 3/8 pitch chains. So this saw then fully adjustable chain oiler as well, and running 3/25 pitch chain and bar setup, which is interesting because the 251s, the 250s, so the 251 and the 251 super bigger sister they're 44 and 32 and 46 and 32 respectively, so 49cc's and 53cc's, but they just perform so fantastically. But this is a very, very similar engine, and on paper generates slightly more power, 3.4 horsepower. And I've noticed that on all the ones I've had come through my hands, the bar and the chain setups they're not adequate for this saw. They hide the saw's performance. So I'm not a huge fan of 3/25 pitch chains, and most of the saws I have now, which have been running with those, they're kind of being sold on. And so I wanted to buy this at donor saw because I wanted the original Oleo bar to set her off, which looks really great. And then I was using on one of my other Oleos again, this is a brand new chain which will come with her, which is a semi-chisel. Can't read the make. One of the chaps I know recommended and said they seem to cut well, good value for money, £10 chain, and it cuts terrible with it. I mean, I thought the performance for a new chain was so poor, and you'd almost think, if you hadn't seen them running, particularly her older sisters, if you haven't seen that series of saw from the Italian maker running, you'd think, wow, that's an underpowered engine. And on one of my other saws, I was running a 3/25 pitch steel full chisel chain, which needs sharpening. So I ended up buying just a new steel 325 pitch full chisel, and as they've shown online, they're the fastest cutting and the nicest cutting chain when they did this test. I've got to look up where that test was for people. So I thought, let me show people how she cuts. A couple of people have messaged, you're going to do a video for her. Absolutely is the answer. And she runs impeccably. She's unmarked all the way around and has a beautiful recoil housing now. Original bar. So it comes with 3 chains, one virtually brand new steel, one steel which needs sharpening, and then one other which is again nearly new, but just, I think the performance for that chain is really, really poor. So it just goes to show, if you skimp on the cutting gear, what was the bar that was fitted to this one before? It wasn't an Ozaki. I don't think it was a, no, it was a low-cost bar, budget bar, and coupled with the budget chain, let me show you how she performs now. She has a genuine Oleo Mac bar in lovely condition and a lovely steel chain. So what are we going to cut? We've got an 18-inch bar, we have about 15-inch timber, so a real nice marker for this type of middleweight sword. They're a really manageable weight, and how accurate the 3.4 horsepower is, I don't know, but unsurprisingly, with a decent bar and chain setup, if I was going to give anybody any advice, if you're running any older saws, just get on the very best cutting gear you can on it, because it will make the saw perform, if nothing else, it's going to make you feel happy when you use it. Right, let's see how this door cuts. So I was only cutting this, some of this up yesterday with my 262, so if I hadn't put that away, I would have done them back to back. And as a point of interest, if any of you guys are interested, you spot this blue saw in the back. Very interesting saw, bit of a labour of love getting this one to where she is. And the 2 filler caps at the front kind of give it away. So she's a Pioneer footprint, but in the wrong colour, interestingly, but factory paint. So looks like a number of the variations you find in the partner series, the 20, 25, 26, 10, 70 range. But what's really unusual is this is a Danon 51. So today's challenge for any of you is, tell me if any of you can find any information on a Danon 51 anywhere. And I'll show her on video next. A thing of real beauty. Okay, here we go. Beautiful starting and running engines, very intuitive switch gear, kill switch, throttle lock, choke, choke off. guys, so for a middleweight saw, that's just fantastic. So she's approaching around the 30-year mark, and it's a really nice accurate disc. I dare say somebody with more skill sharpening the 325 might get a more balanced edge on her than me. I think I've only sharpened her twice. Teeth life is excellent, and so there we go. That's how the 951 performs. Really, really well. Beautiful running engine, lovely idle, and the only thing she's missing is ever so interesting as well. So this is the 4 or 5 of these, and interestingly, they've all had issues with the brakes. I've had 2 with brake handles missing, and the other 3 with broken brake straps. So not sure why I've never got round to actually buying those. They're still available through any of the kind of Oleo Mac or FCO dealers, and they're about 15 or 16 pounds for a brake band. And like so many of my saws, I love using saws without brakes, so it's never bothered me. I've never got round to doing it. But there she is. She's undamaged all the way round. The AV mounts are excellent. All composite handles, so you don't lose your kind of rubber grip on this type of series of Oleo, which is really nice. And why don't we take one more cut off with her? So throttle lock, kill switch. Guys, trying to be a little bit greedy with just how small amount I was taking off. Yeah, I was good till about 3/4 through. So there you go. So she's a beautiful, beautiful garden chainsaw for the home user. Just light, easy to use, and plenty of power. So that's going through 15-inch wood, absolutely effortless. Guys, thanks for watching. That's the Oleo Mac, and remember, anybody find out any information on a down arm 51, let me know what you find. It'll be an interesting search. Bye for now, guys.